Gotta fight up. Gotta fight against violence.
What a fantastic day to be here with everybody. The sun is shining, we're together, we're on the streets, and that is fantastic. I don't think I need the megaphone today, and I have my cards, so I'm just going to try to speak to you all from up here, and hopefully you can hear me. Usually people haven't had very much trouble to hear me, so I'm going to try to use that to my advantage today. I'd like to thank Occupy Ottawa for having this happen today. Let's not forget all those involved in the backdrop as well, trying to make this happen and supporting this as well, even if they aren't involved in the Occupy Ottawa group.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
Sparky.
Sparky, I'll move over here, okay?
Sparky.
Sit down, buddy. Sit down. Good?
Sparky, speak.
So thanks for all those that got involved to do this today.
For everything.
It is an absolute great honor that Occupy Ottawa asked me to speak here today. I'm absolutely thrilled to do this. So I'd like to start by saying with my friends, my fellow citizens, and my fellow people, we stand at the crossroads of a global economic crisis in many forms. Neoliberal capitalism has become the driving force of our global economy worldwide. The first thing I would like to address is the concept of capitalism and its evolutionary effects on our societies, our cultures, institutions, and individuals. There are three very basic concepts to capitalism. One, most people work for others, a wage or a salary. Two, a small portion of society owns the bulk of the wealth. Three, competition and effort is created through scarcity and the need for profit. These 3 points can force companies, corporations, institutions, and individuals to often behave in perverse and destructive ways.
As opposed to the way communists act.
The basic concept of evolution is that all species evolve in response to environmental changes and conditions, or the species must die. The need for more profit and more economic growth is linked to our very survival in the current capitalistic environment.
Fuck capitalism.
So, all our institutions and corporations must seek profit and growth before any other thing, for their very survival depends upon it. Because of this now, we have food that is toxic to eat. Medical and pharmaceutical corporations that withhold valuable medication and even lobby against those that try to introduce new meds and cures. Unless they can fit it into their current profit paradigm. Thousands and thousands are dying around the world daily because if we fed and clothed them, we wouldn't turn a profit. And since profit is linked to our survival, we cannot choose anything but our own survival. It is zealot fundamentalism when we are told that the problem is that we are not capitalistic enough. It is time to realize that it is not the human condition, and it is the system that we live in.
Yeah, fuck the system.
It is time to realize that the human condition has a unique ability to change its environment and therefore choose its own evolutionary path. Capitalism has had its moments.
Fuck capitalism.
However, it's long gone. And now it is time for us to change or perish.
Let's stand up and fight.
Stand together!
How much did your sunglasses cost?
The second issue I would like to address is money. Every day, people struggle to earn money. On average, people spend about 1/3 of their lives working to attain money. Yet the only thing most people understand about money is that you need it to survive.
No, we got garbage cans.
Yet what is money?
I have no income.
What is its function? Where does it come from? And how is it distributed? Who is in control of it? And if we need money for our very survival, why do we as individuals not understand it? Money is a social contract. It is a tool to organize and facilitate trade and the value thereof.
Fair trade coffee.
Our money is called a monetary, debt-based, fractional reserve fiat currency. This basically means that money is created out of thin air whenever there is a need to issue debt, and it is only backed by a small, if any, fraction of a reserve. This was an ingenious concept at first, but it came with a fatal flaw. Currently, 95% of money is created by these private banks. They have been given the right by law to collect interest on money that they create from nothing through bank legislation and bank acts. In a capitalistic, profit-driven society, this type of behavior is completely unfair.
Raping people.
Fuck the banks.
They're raping and raping people.
When a group of people are given the right to create money from nothing and then profit because the law says they can and others cannot, this is called legalized plunder. And it is completely unlawful and it must stop. To quote William Lyon Mackenzie King, the 10th Prime Minister of Canada, until the control of the issue of currency and credit is restored to government and is recognized as the most conspicuous and sacred responsibility, all talks of sovereignty, of parliament, and of democracy are idle and futile.
Oi!
So how do these private banks get away with all of this? It's very, very simple. We let them.
Yeah!
They are not performing magic or doing anything we cannot do ourselves, for we are the people.
We are the people!
And the Bank of Canada belongs to us.
Yeah.
We own it.
Oi!
We created it to issue loans at basically 0% interest to our government. But sadly, the case is no longer. Now, its sole two functions are monetary stability and regulating the private sector. The high priests of neoliberal capitalism have seized our bank and now they use it for their temple of worship. Perhaps it is time for the public to print their own money. As Jesus did, perhaps it is time to chase the moneylenders from our temple.
Oi!
Now, I'd like to go on to the most horrific aspect of the Canadian banking system. With all this power and responsibility, these banks still cheat. In the capitalist concept, if you cannot maintain a profit, then you do not survive. Your assets are absorbed into the system for others to attain for profit. Yet these banks can't even play by their own rules. And they have bought off our government and our media in silence for what they have done. Since the bank crisis of the United States, our glorious politicians, led by our Prime Minister and our Finance Minister, have been lying.
Fuck the Prime Minister!
They told us our banks were healthy and strong.
He's raping us.
They told us they were never bailed out and that we made much different choices here in the United States.
That's bullshit.
Well, guess what? They were not stable. We did bail them out. And the only thing our government did differently here than in the United States
Right, tell us.
is lie to us.
Right, Fuck Harper.
I guess in our polite Canadian way, our government decided, seeing as they were not going to give us a choice, they might as well save us the grief of knowing. There are many economists, analysis, and reports that verify this bailout and that have been around for several months, if not a year or so. Unfortunately, for some reason, the mainstream media lies strangely silent on probably one of the most important issues of our time. The Canadian Charter for Policy Alternatives released a 46-page study report detailing the extent of the Canadian bailout. The most shocking statistic that I found was that the CIBC, BMO, and Scotiabank were completely sunk. They received support exceeding the total value of their company. Scotia received support of 100% total company value. BMO received 118%, and this bank, CIBC, received 148% total company value. We need to pause for a second and really think about what that means and what we did and what they did. It means that instead of lending them the money, we could have bought all three banks. Bought them, ours.
Give me the money.
As soon as I got it, it's yours, buddy. We could have turned them all into public banks, along with the Bank of Canada, which is ours. We would have had enough money left over to throw a national party and celebrate our newfound purchase. But in the end, we all can't be Iceland.
And the homeless.
And the homeless. 2008, Iceland has been going through a revolution with almost no media coverage at all. In short, since 2008, the Icelandic Revolution has consisted of resignation of their government, nationalization of their banks, a referendum so the people can decide over the economic decisions of their country, and letting the banks fail and pay for their own mistakes and not the people. Constitution. So what does this all mean? Well, it means we really gotta start thinking outside the box. This status quo will no longer do. We need to bring to justice those responsible for the heinous fraud and theft of the Canadian people's wealth.
That's Harper.
We need to tax the rich and seize these out of control banks. We are spending $160 million a day to pay back our debts to these people while they rob us blind at the same time. There are other alternatives, there are other choices, but until we can have a media that keeps us truly informed, we will never be able to make rational decisions. Our media and our politicians will not open the floor for this discussion. What truly is the root of democracy is securing the safe space where free, respectful, informative, fair, and political discourse can flourish for all.
Shame on Harper! Raping us and robbing us!
With our very democracy threatened, I feel thankful that the Occupy movement has come in. I thank them because I believe that the Occupy movement is here to secure that safe space where democracy can have a chance to exist again. I thank you, Occupy Ottawa and the Occupy movement, for giving us the space to be seen and to be heard. I thank you for giving me but one moment, this floor, so I could have my moment to occupy this conversation.